I'm a neuroscientist from the University of Edinburgh, and the focus of my work and that of my group is on memory, the physiological basis of memory, the way we think it works in the brain. And the idea is to try to understand exactly how this amazing faculty of mind, faculty of brain, actually operates, that enables us to look back into the past and to escape from the moment that we're actually living in and think about the future, just to try to work out how that all comes about. Well, I think there are a variety. We do a mixture of human studies and of animal work, but in the animal studies we've been very interested in the idea that the connections from one brain neuron onto another, one brain cell to another brain cell, can change in strength. They can either get stronger or get weaker. And then if one has a process like that, which can be controlled physiologically, and you embed it into networks of brain cells, you can show in mathematical models that this is a system that would store information. And so one of the things we've been trying to do is to test that idea experimentally in a whole variety of different ways, rigorous tests of this kind of idea that the connection strengths are the heart of the process. And so far those tests have worked out reasonably well. I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them, such that there's now a growing consensus that this might be the heart of the mechanism by which information is stored in the brain. And we've done a variety of different animal experiments, a lot of them to do with spatial memory, because finding their way around is something that animals do really well, and you want to tap into something that they do well to really get a handle on the problem. We don't know everything we need to know about memory yet, absolutely not. But it's an incredibly interesting time because we have established a kind of a framework, a conceptual framework about how different forms of memory might work. And that seems to be holding up reasonably well. But our ability to look at this with a degree of precision is still very much in the future. But the exciting thing in the last 10 years, and the amazing thing for, say, young people coming into neuroscience now, is that there are some really fantastic new technologies to do with the way you train animals behaviorally, the way you interrogate what's happening in the brain cells, the way you can control them. And many of these build upon all the advances that have happened in the genomic area, where we can listen in on the brain and watch what's happening in the brain with, just amazing technology. And I think the next 10, 20 years is going to be something where young people are going to contribute fantastically and give us new insights into the way a mechanism like memory works, but also other processes in the brain as well. I think he's been very influential because there's a really big boundary in the field between people doing human studies, for which it's sort of unethical to actually do any kind of invasive experiments inside the brain, and animal work where we judge that in an appropriate way it is ethical to actually record from individual brain cells. And the Logothetis lab here in Tübingen have been the world leaders in bridging that divide, using non-invasive imaging of the brain and simultaneously recording from cells in non-human primates, which have a brain very similar to humans. And the insights that their work has yielded has given us further confidence in the idea that it's the connections from one brain area to the other that really matter. And they've been able to use that information to bridge into non-invasive brain scanning in humans, and so connect up the field in exciting ways. Well, sadly I couldn't be here for the first day, but today has just been spectacular. I've heard so far 4 amazing talks. I've learnt new things. I've had, as happens at these kind of meetings, conversations outside. students coming, showing me their data on their mobile phone and the usual kind of stuff that goes on at a scientific meeting that's all part of the bread and butter of a scientific life. It's been really great.